Hello everyone and welcome to my The Young and the Restless official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Young and the Restless recap for Thursday, February 26th reveals that Kane Ashby will push Phyllis to dupe Victor Newman with a false win. Devon Winters will also demand Lily Winters' location, so here's what Y&R fans can look forward to. At the Chancellor Mansion, Dominic Winters will come downstairs after a bad dream and ask Abby Winters to stay with him until he falls back asleep. Devon will talk to Abby about getting a child psychologist recommendation from Sharon Newman and making sure Dom's okay after his kidnapping ordeal. Nate Hastings will show up and speak with Devon privately, so Devon will mention his confrontation with Kane and the confirmation he got about Lily being held hostage along with the twins. Devon will suspect this is Victor's doing and will act like he might have told Victoria Newman, but Nate will seem skeptical that Victoria would keep that a secret from him. Nate will point out that Victor's been confiding in Adam Newman lately, so Devon will suggest Adam's potential involvement is even more of a reason to be concerned. After Devon and Nate drop a hint to Abby about checking on a Lily-related lead, they'll head for the Newman ranch. Meanwhile, Victoria will try to persuade Victor that her idea to get Summer Newman to align with the Newmans against Phyllis is a good idea. However, Victor won't want Victoria to bother Summer since she has a happy life in Milan. As for Nick Newman, Victor will insist he'd never leave his family right now to help Victoria deal with this. Victoria will hear the latest news about Matt and know that he needs to be Victor's priority. Although Victoria won't plan to pressure Nick into joining her Italy trip, she'll stand by her decision to use Summer to their advantage. Victor will hint about more steps he's taken to ensure that Kane Ashby does the right thing, but Nikki Newman will remain frustrated over not knowing the details. Once Devon and Nate arrive at the ranch later, Devon will push him to come clean about where the hell Lily and the twins are. At Crimson Lights, Noah Newman will bring Sienna Bacall in and confirm to Sharon as well as Nick that she's moving to Genoa City. There'll eventually be some talk about Matt's release and the creepy text messages Noah received. Another text will come in that suggests Matt could be close by or 1,000 miles away, so he'll still be taunting Noah. Noah and Sienna will hope that maybe Matt's just trying to scare them from afar, but Sharon and Nick will feel confident the psycho will be back for revenge. Detective James Burrow will show up and point out that since Matt was released legally, he's not a fugitive. There's no reason for the cops to look for Matt, so Burrow will acknowledge that the Newmans may have to take the law into their own hands. On Kane's train, he'll deny that Phyllis is a prisoner and argue that his guard prevented her from leaving before they could finish their conversation. Phyllis will think Kane's a fool if he can't see that Lily and the twins aren't in real danger. Victor would never hurt Neil Winters' family, so Phyllis will push Kane to see this is one big bluff. Kane will rant at Phyllis since he'll remain concerned for Lily, Matty Ashby and Charlie Ashby. After Kane pitches the idea of building something bigger and better than Newman Enterprises, he'll even suggest they could gut Newman before giving it back to Victor. It'll be clear that Kane is scrambling to say anything that might convince Phyllis. Phyllis will eventually see that Kane was never really going to accept cutting ties with his children and that he never stopped loving Lily. Kane will admit he can't give up on the three people he loves most, so he'll push Phyllis to see that love and family are everything. Kane will insist love matters more than power, wealth or vindication, so Phyllis will soften a bit overhearing his perspective during this conversation. It'll seem like Phyllis is starting to think about her own children and how much she's willing to sacrifice. In the end, Kane will suggest maybe there's a way to fool Victor into thinking he's won. Phyllis will argue that Victor isn't easily fooled, but Kane will act like they just need him to believe it long enough to get Lily and the twins released. Phyllis will seek confirmation that she'd maintain complete control before Kane pushes her to at least help him pull off this trick. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Phyllis will have a big decision to make, so stay tuned. The tension is thick in Genoa City as Thursday, February 26th unfolds on The Young and the Restless. Secrets, lies, and desperate gambits swirl around the Newman and Winters families, leaving everyone teetering on the edge of heartbreak or disaster. At the quiet stillness of the Chancellor Mansion, the night leaves its mark on young Dominic Winters. He descends the stairs, his small frame shadowed by lingering fears, a nightmare still clinging to him. His plea is simple, yet heart-wrenching. He wants Abby by his side until sleep finally claims him again. Abby, torn between comfort and her own worries, kneels beside him, wrapping her presence around him like a protective shield. Their soft conversation is interrupted only by the heavy weight of unspoken fears. Fears for Dominic's safety after everything he's endured. Upstairs, Devon Winters is restless, his mind racing with urgency. He speaks with Abby, his voice a mixture of concern and determination, about securing a recommendation for a child psychologist from Sharon Newman, all in the hopes of helping Dominic heal after the terror of his kidnapping ordeal. Each word carries the weight of a parent desperate to shield his child from further pain. Then Nate Hastings arrives, entering the room like a shadow of caution and pragmatism. Devon pulls him aside, the two exchanging words heavy with tension. Devon reveals his confrontation with Kane Ashby and confirms what they both feared. Lily is being held hostage alongside the twins. The news hangs in the air like a storm cloud, thick and suffocating. Devon's suspicion immediately points toward Victor Newman, but Nate is skeptical, questioning whether Victoria Newman could really keep such a secret. Their conversation spirals into the dangerous dance of family loyalties. Victor confiding in Adam Newman instead of them only adds fuel to Devon's fire of concern. Meanwhile, subtle hints are dropped for Abby, small breadcrumbs leading her toward a potential lead on Lily. With a glance heavy with worry, Devon and Nate leave the mansion, their minds focused on the Newman ranch and the peril that awaits them there. Across town, Victoria is playing a calculated game of persuasion with her father, Victor Newman. She argues passionately that Summer Newman could be an ally in their fight against Phyllis, a key piece in their strategy. But Victor, ever the patriarch, is firm. Summer is happy in Milan. Why risk pulling her into a dangerous family feud? Even Nick Newman's involvement is dismissed. Victor refuses to abandon his responsibilities at home to indulge Victoria's plans. Victoria, though, is nothing if not determined. Even as she acknowledges that Nick won't be joining her in Italy, she resolves to use Summer as leverage, a subtle hand in a very high-stakes game. Meanwhile, Victor hints at measures he's already taken, strategic moves meant to ensure Kane Ashby behaves, but Nikki Newman, ever vigilant, is left frustrated, left to wonder what her husband has plotted in secret. Back at the ranch, Devon and Nate arrive with urgency etched on their faces. Devon's voice cuts through the tension like steel. He demands answers, needing to know, finally, where the hell are Lily and the twins? The weight of every unspoken second presses on the room, the silence deafening in its implication. At Crimson Lights, the atmosphere is tense but tinged with tentative hope. Noah Newman introduces Sienna Bacall to Sharon and Nick, confirming she's moving to Genoa City, a potential ally in a city rife with danger. Yet shadows linger. News of Matt's release and the haunting, cryptic texts he continues to send cast a pall over the group. Each message twists the knife of uncertainty. Is Matt close, or is he playing a cruel game from thousands of miles away? Noah and Sienna cling to the hope that perhaps it's all a bluff, but Sharon and Nick know better. This psycho is relentless, and his thirst for revenge is far from quenched. Detective James Burrow adds a grim reality check. Matt was released legally. There's no fugitive pursuit, no law to stop him. The Newmans, it seems, must become their own justice. The tension tightens like a noose, every heartbeat echoing the danger looming over them. On a train, Kane Ashby's nerves unravel in a private confrontation with Phyllis. He insists Phyllis isn't a prisoner, trying to justify the chaos and fear he's been a part of. But Phyllis, sharp and unwavering, sees through the cracks in his story. She knows better. Lily and the twins aren't in real danger. Victor Newman would never harm Neil Winters' family. Her words are measured, but each carries the weight of truth, challenging Kane to see reason. Kane's own fear for his family bubbles over. His concern for Lily, Mattie, and Charlie is raw, consuming him. In a flurry of emotion, he pitches grandiose visions of a future where they build something bigger, something beyond Newman Enterprises, even daring to fantasize about stripping Victor of his empire. But beneath the bravado, his words betray desperation. Kane is scrambling, searching for any argument to convince Phyllis to hold on to hope for the family he loves most. And then a vulnerable truth breaks through. Kane admits quietly but firmly that he cannot abandon the three people he loves most. He pushes Phyllis to see it. Love, not power or revenge, is the ultimate priority. Phyllis begins to soften. The reality of her own children and the sacrifices she's willing to make stirring deep within her. Kane's strategy crystallizes in one final tense suggestion. Maybe they can fool Victor into believing Kane has won. Phyllis challenges him, reminding him Victor Newman is hardly a man to be easily deceived. But Kane's logic is simple, human, just long enough to secure Lily and the twins' safety. The possibility of control, of maintaining authority, gives Phyllis pause. Her heart races with the gravity of the decision before her. By the end of this electrifying confrontation, the weight of choice hangs over Phyllis like a storm cloud. Kane's plea is clear, his eyes reflecting both fear and love. The question is impossible: how far is she willing to go to protect her family, and can she gamble everything on the hope that even Victor Newman can be played? Thursday's episode promises heartbreak, strategy, and the raw power of family ties tested to their limits. With every whispered secret and desperate plan, the residents of Genoa City are reminded, in this town, love, loyalty, and deception are never far apart. As the shadows lengthen across Genoa City, the tension inside the Newman ranch reaches a breaking point. Devon and Nate stand like sentinels, their determination sharp as a blade. Devon's words are urgent, desperate even. Every syllable carries the fear of a father who cannot rest while his wife and children remain in the shadows. He demands answers, and Nate, though measured, knows the truth is a storm that cannot be tamed. They are navigating a labyrinth of loyalties, secrets, and the dangerous manipulations of Victor Newman, a man whose power is only rivaled by his unpredictability. Meanwhile, back on that fateful train, Kane Ashby is wrestling with his conscience. Every move, every word to Phyllis is a delicate balancing act between honesty and deception. His mind spins with visions of building a future, one that could rise above Newman Enterprises itself. But beneath the ambition lies a simple human truth. He cannot, will not abandon Lily and the twins. Phyllis watches him, her eyes narrowing, her instincts on high alert. She senses the tug-of-war within him, sees the cracks in his carefully constructed facade, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, she begins to soften. The conversation becomes more than strategy. It becomes a meditation on love, family, and the lengths one will go to protect them. Phyllis feels the weight of her own maternal instincts pressing down, reminding her of her children and the sacrifices she has already endured. Kane's insistence that love matters more than wealth, power, or revenge strikes a chord deep inside her. For a moment, the chaos of Genoa City fades away, leaving only the raw truth of human connection, of loyalty and devotion that transcends schemes and corporate battles. Yet the threat remains ever present. Kane cautiously proposes a bold gambit. What if they could convince Victor that Kane has achieved victory, that Phyllis is in control, and that everything is as it should be? Phyllis hesitates. Victor Newman is no man to be deceived lightly, but Kane's plea is as much about survival as it is strategy. He needs Phyllis to understand that even a fleeting illusion of victory could be enough to secure Lily and the twins' safety. As this tense chess game unfolds across town, Noah Newman, Sharon, and Nick are caught in their own web of fear and uncertainty. Sienna Bacall's arrival in Genoa City brings a glimmer of hope, yet the specter of Matt looms like a storm on the horizon. Each cryptic text, each taunting message escalates the anxiety, reminding them that this psycho is both patient and relentless. Detective James Burrows' chilling acknowledgement that the law cannot stop Matt forces them into a dangerous realization. Sometimes, the only way to protect your loved ones is to take matters into your own hands. Back at the Chancellor Mansion, Dominic sleeps fitfully, Abby by his side. Every sound in the night, a creak of the stairs, a distant car horn echoes through the quiet rooms like a warning. Devon's worry is a living thing, an unrelenting pulse that keeps him moving, planning, fighting against the clock. Every parent in Genoa City knows the helpless fear of children caught in the crossfire of adult schemes, and Devon is no exception. And at the Newman Ranch, Victoria's schemes take shape with calculated precision. Her plan to recruit Summer Newman may seem cold and tactical, but it's rooted in survival, a desire to shield her family while manipulating the delicate threads of loyalty that bind them. Victor, always vigilant, pushes back, wary of involving Summer in the dangerous games that define his world. Yet even in opposition, there is an unspoken tension between father and daughter, a silent acknowledgement that in Genoa City, family ties are both a strength and a vulnerability. The city itself seems to hold its breath, a stage set for confrontation, for heartbreak, for moments of unanticipated courage. Every character is caught in a tide of loyalty, love, fear, and ambition. Kane and Phyllis navigate moral dilemmas that test their bond. Devon and Nate walk a knife's edge between hope and despair. Victoria maneuvers like a chess master, and Victor stands as an immovable force, a man whose decisions will ripple through every life he touches. And yet, beneath the plotting and the power plays, the human element remains undeniable. Love, devotion, and the desire to protect family continue to drive every choice, every whispered secret, every desperate gamble. Kane's admission that he cannot give up on Lily and the twins is mirrored in Devon's relentless pursuit of answers. Phyllis's inner conflict reflects the tension of a mother trying to protect her children from forces beyond her control. In Genoa City, even amid corporate battles and psychological games, the core of the story is profoundly human. The lengths we go to for the people we love. As Thursday's story hurtles toward its climax, viewers are left on the edge of their seats. Will Kane and Phyllis succeed in their daring ruse? Will Devon uncover Lily's location before it's too late? And as Matt's shadow looms ever larger over Noah, Sharon, and Nick, one thing is certain. In Genoa City, the stakes are never just business. They are life, love, and survival itself. Stay tuned, because on The Young and the Restless, every choice has a consequence and every secret has a price. Thursday promises drama, heartbreak, cunning strategies, and the raw, unfiltered power of family woven together in a story that will leave you holding your breath until the very last frame. The night in Genoa City feels alive with whispers and shadows, as if the streets themselves are holding their breath. At the Chancellor Mansion, Dominic sleeps fitfully, the memory of his kidnapping still etched into every line of his small face. Abby sits beside him, her hand gently resting on his back. Her presence a quiet comfort. She doesn't speak. Words aren't enough. But her heartbeat is a lullaby, a steady drum against the storm of his fear. Every creak of the stairs, every distant siren tugs at her nerves. She wants to promise him safety, but deep down she knows how fragile that promise has become in a city ruled by secrets and ambition. Devon paces the living room, his mind racing. He speaks softly to Abby, weighing the need for a child psychologist recommendation from Sharon Newman. He wants Dominic to have every resource possible, every ounce of guidance to help him process what he's been through. But beneath his calm exterior, fear pulses like a live wire. Devon is desperate to fix what cannot easily be fixed, desperate to shield his family from the darkness that has already brushed too close. Suddenly, Nate Hastings steps into the room. His presence is deliberate, measured, like a lifeline in a storm. Devon pulls him aside, urgency lacing every word. He recounts the confrontation with Kane Ashby, his voice a low rumble of frustration and worry. Lily is being held hostage, and so are the twins. The thought is unbearable. Devon's suspicions naturally point toward Victor Newman, the man who always seems 2 steps ahead, and yet Nate's skepticism is sharp. Could Victoria really be keeping the secret from him? The uncertainty gnaws at Devon, forcing him to consider the unthinkable, Adam Newman's potential involvement. Meanwhile, subtle tension weaves through the conversation with Abby. A gentle hint, a carefully chosen phrase, nudges her toward a possible lead about Lily. Her eyes widen slightly, curiosity mixing with dread, but there is no time to linger. Devon and Nate leave the mansion, heading toward the Newman Ranch, where danger and strategy await. At the Newman estate, Victoria Newman is playing her own dangerous game. She leans in close to Victor, her voice smooth, persuasive, as she tries to convince him that Summer Newman could be an ally in their plans against Phyllis. But Victor, ever watchful, refuses to put Summer in the line of fire. She's happy in Milan, he says, and the last thing he wants is to disturb her peace. Nick's involvement is brushed aside. Victor is firm, unwavering. Victoria's mind whirls, weighing loyalty, strategy, and the cold necessity of her schemes. She won't pressure Nick, but Summer remains a critical piece in her puzzle, a silent force she intends to use wisely. Meanwhile, Kane Ashby's internal struggle reaches a fever pitch on the train. The carriage is quiet, the hum of the tracks beneath a constant, almost hypnotic drumbeat. He tells Phyllis she isn't a prisoner, that his guard merely delayed her before they could finish talking. But she sees through the excuses. Phyllis is sharp, unyielding, the fire of protection for her loved ones lighting her gaze.